Alright. Let's just see what's going on. So, right, okay. So it begins. Assalamu alaikum, folks. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna alhamdulillahi wa kafah. والصلاة والسلام على رسول المصطفى وعلى عباده الذين ارتضى ومن بهداهم اهتدى وبآثار أهل المدينة اقتفى بعد فسلام الله عليكم. Aisha, Nicole, am I feeling better? Shukran. I am. But it's been another incredibly exhausting day, I have to say. What a day, people. What a day. Yesterday and the day before was just the same in its own way. But who's your barber, Mufti? It's Dino's in Birmingham. I go to Dino's addresses. I got to put the phone on silent. That's a must. So that should have done it. Tuesdays is the new Monday. Alright. Mufti, my local masjid does a pause from getting up between the first and fourth rak'ah. Is there evidence for this in the Maliki madhab? Well, Ben, somebody, Shamrez Swaga. Alright, shukran. The thing is that there is a hadith about this, what they call Jalsatul Istiraha. They call this the Jalsatul Istiraha. The Maliki madhab doesn't actually accept this, neither does the Hanafi madhab. And they believe this was something that the Prophet ﷺ did do, but he didn't do as an act of prayer. He did just to assist himself, in especially when the Prophet ﷺ wasn't feeling well. So, and I mean, before the Prophet ﷺ, as he fell ill slightly before his final time, when the Prophet ﷺ would lead the prayer, they say that he would, as he would get up from sujood, he found it a bit difficult to just like kind of almost just bounce right back up. So he would sit, rest on the ground, and then from the ground kind of stand up, and this was called Jalsatul Istiraha. The Shafi'i madhab and the Hanabila, many of them took this to be a sunnah of Salah. The Maliki madhab did not accept that, and Ibn Arabi has an awesome response in line with what I've said in his commentary on Tirmidhi. Okay, people, and on the Muwatta, so you can check that out, people, check that out. Anybody who's this is a I was going to try and bring up one of his books, but they're not here. But what would be a good thing is if I show any book, for anybody who would like to kind of like very quickly just spring up and say, you know, why is Mufti drinking with his left hand? Well, besides my usual response that the devil told me to do it, I would say, well, can you read that? Oh, no, you can't. I mean, is it just because you're retarded? No, it isn't because you're just retarded. It's because it's backwards. It's the selfie camera. Hello, people. Hello. So just to... So the person might think, well, what the hell? I can't understand Arabic. So can you read that? No, you can't. That's my Spanish study books. Anyway, right, so let's move on with the questions, people. Salam, Sajid Riyasat, wa alaykum as-salam. Aisha, shukran, barakallahu feek. Hussein Anwar, Imam Hussein Anwar is watching. Tasharrafna, Shaykhana, hayyakallah. Those who don't know Imam Hussein Anwar, an amazing Imam, very active in his work of da'wah, in promoting the greatness of the Quran, and he recites, has awesome, impeccable recitation. Unlike some of us. I wish I did, but I don't. Looking forward to coming to Bradford Uni. Ha ha ha. Ahshush Hasnain. Ahshush Hasnain. No idea. Ahshush. Oh, are you the person we met in... right, okay. We met in, of course, in Leicester. At Markfield. How you doing, Hasnain? How you doing? Abu Mu'adh is watching. Look at that. Is that you? Abu Mu'adh? Let me do the devil sign. Is that you? I forget which one is supposed to be the devil. Is it this or is it this? I can't remember now. But this is to wind up some people. Some people have got so much time. They've gone through so many of my photos and pictures and found me doing something like this or like this and thought, oh my God, see, he worships the devil. Well, that's for you guys to make it easy. Ayaz, ahlan wa sahlan. Isma, ahlan wa sahlan. On board Thaqib Aslam, PT, personal trainer, people. Those who want some bodybuilding, that's your man in Birmingham. And as a bonus, he looks like Shahid Kapoor as well from Bollywood. So that's a bonus. You could take some selfie shoots with him. Right, let's get on to some questions. Santos, Habiba, bienvenidos. Santos helps me with some of my Spanish, so muchas gracias. Right, with that, Mu'adh, what is your stance on giving zakat to people within the UK? I think if there is a tragedy within the UK, it is a duty on us, if we can help, to help. So right now, I know the flooding has begun again. So Muslims ought to, Muslim charities that have the capacity, I don't know whether they do or don't, you see, so I don't want to comment on them individually, but they ought to, if they have the capacity, to help here. This is home, so it should be given a certain level of priority. I understand if there's a huge tragedy that suddenly happened somewhere, that's fine, but they should play a part in organic, indigenous charity. Okay, so I totally support and push that understanding, Sajid. Right, Furqan Sha'ban, ahlan wa sahlan. Jazakallah al-khair for the answer. Any dua for illness? Alina Jordan, why? I mean, are you ill, or are you saying it because I was ill? I mean, alhamdulillah, I wasn't ill that bad like that. I was just totally, just, you know, when you have one of those days, that's it. It's been too long with too little sleep for 2 whole days, so I just collapsed. Right, but I mean, you can always, in terms of du'as for general illness, there's certain ahadith saying things like Surah Al-Fatiha, or people say, you know, like the du'as like وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ, when I'm ill, then Allah, then He cures me. But the important thing is to take medicine, to take vitamins, to do stuff like that boost your immune system. I know some people really hate vitamins and stuff on a daily basis. I'm like a junkie, actually. I think the amount of tablets I must take on a daily basis, it's what got me into the ecstasy, actually. It's just a habit of tablets. That's a joke, by the way. I have to say, I went out to deliver a course for some young people between what I thought were going to be 18 to 25, but I guess they were mainly just bordering probably 18, really. But it kind of hit me. I didn't really think of this before then, but it hit me that young people don't actually get wit, do they? And they don't get sarcasm. It actually seriously hit me that, oh my God, like, you gotta, I don't mean it in a, but like, it's not that, see, they're clever. It's not that they're not clever. They're not like dumb or retards, but they don't get wit. Like, they're not witty at all. They can't, I don't think they can relate to wit at that. I don't know, but I mean, that's the feeling. It made me think, actually, damn, I never thought of it like that. Because I suppose we have some young, like I have some young students and stuff like that, and they're of a sometimes young age, but they get wit and they get sarcasm. But what made me think was that maybe it's because they hang around with older people. That's why they pick it up. Anyway, some food for thought. Momo is watching. Is that you, Momo, all the way from Al-Qahira? Right, Mamujan, Allahu Akbar, Jabbar, Abdul, Kaifak from the Netherlands. Sanaullah, quite a few people logging on. Right, the number of people, okay. Sorry if this has already been asked in previous. What is your opinion on Sheesha? Makruh? The thing about Sheesha takes the same ruling as smoking, in my understanding. And it's, you see, there's a difference of opinion. And many ulama, many Maliki ulama, I believe just trying to, but anyway, there's been quite a few. I know that the debate may be, well, they were slightly, over 100 years ago when things have changed, but there are mixed opinions on on things like the fatwa for smoking. Many people don't believe it's haram. I personally find myself with them, so I don't believe it's haram. I believe it's perhaps makruh, discouraged. Okay, so right. Coming back to Anisa is watching, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Alina is watching, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Saif, Sharif, Ahmed Sadiq, right, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Right, so let's see some questions. Shout out Bilal, check this out. People want shout outs, god damn it. Right, so opinion of Ibn Hazm. Abdurrahman al-Jamstaghish has asked, what is my opinion of Ibn Hazm? I love Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm was a don of this ummah. Honestly, an amazing person. Absolutely, I'm fond of him. So fond of him. He was a bit weird on some things, but we all are entitled to a certain amount of eccentricity. Yeah, would you not say? And yes, he kind of he lashed out, if you like, at the Malikis, but I put that down to just contextual, because the only people in front of him were Malikis to lash out at, so he did it. But he was a don, seriously, a legend, people, a legend, as he himself has said. Right, we've got some Sana, right, Ahlan wa Sahlan, had Salam there, alaykum as-salam. Zahara, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Right, so, whoa, the questions have started to let me just try and see if I can hold some of the questions. So, as he said in one of the things that when people would diss him, he said, هُنَالِكَ يُدْرَى أَنَّ لِلْبُعْدِ قِصَّةً وَأَنَّ كَسَادَ الْعِلْمِ آفَتُهُ الْقُرْبُ. That he said that, you people, you have no value for me. And he said, whereas I hear people from the East, the Middle East, and so far from Muslim Spain, they really treasure my books, and you guys have no value. And he said, in the Akhirah, you will come to learn that proximity breeds contempt. And so he said, and it's because of this closeness that knowledge can so often be led to kind of just waste. It's really interesting. Majid Sheikh, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Muhammad Abdul Awwal, Shaykhana, Ahlan wa Sahlan. Right, let's get some questions going. I've answered that. What is the stance about tattoos? You see, tattoos in general, people feel are forbidden, but some of the Malikiyah have differed with that, and they felt it's only makruh and not haram. Qarafi has an interesting comment on that, and he's quoted by Sheikh Abul Hasan al-Adawi in his Hashia on the Risala, where he quotes Qarafi as well, stating that, look, it doesn't, he says, I only saw you know, he says, I only saw the Hanafiya and the Malikiyya, sorry, the Shafi'iyya and the Malikiyya giving their reasons for these haram things in this hadith to be, you know, the famous hadith with the woman who changes herself, who plucks her eyebrows and so on. He says that I found that to be the justification that the Malikis and the Shafi'is gave was that deception and fraud. But he said, I found that not really to make sense. And he said, and it definitely didn't make sense with tattoos. And as to changing the creation of Allah, he said, well, if it's for beautification, then how can that be included? Because trimming the nails, cutting the hair, removing hair around the private parts, stuff like this, he said, is all also changing the creation of Allah. So he said that, and he includes in that circumcision. So if you weren't allowed to change the creation of Allah, why do guys only, okay? So not down with we don't agree with the female circumcision, but guys only. Why do people circumcise? Are they not changing the creation of Allah? If, you know, that argument applies. If Allah wanted us to be like that, He could have created us circumcised. So the point is, every time people, so what Qarafi is saying here is that not everything is a kind of, not every alteration is negative. So when people freak out all the time, oh my God, pluck the eyebrows, oh my God, changing the creation of Allah. Well, if she looks like this, like Cyclops, like one eye, right? So then I think not changing, I think plucking that is having mercy on the creation of Allah. Why do you want to freak everybody out, for God's sake? So, hell yeah, pluck those eyebrows. And there's a transmission from Aisha. She said that if the daughters of, she said Abdurrahman, meaning her family and so on, had kind of facial hair that was slightly excessive, she would have removed it, but they didn't. And you have to remember something, that the Prophet ﷺ, his people, the Arabs, especially of that time, were not a kind of hairy people, especially not like the Indo-Pak people, okay? Especially not like the Pakistanis, okay? So, there you go. As-salam. Amira, alaykum as-salam. The Ashariyyah from the Jabariyyah. Right, questions are shooting up. Right, so they're not from the Jabariyyah, although you're right, they have some, you know, a weird explanation on Qadar. I agree with that, but they're not from Jabariyyah. Saqib, right back at you. So, what do you think? Is it good for Muslims to live a good life in US? What is to live a good life is USA compared to UK? I'm not sure what that question means. I think that question means, is the USA compared to the UK just as good? God knows. I mean, it must be pretty similar, although Trump's in now. What kind of hair wax you use? Okay, what kind of hair wax I use? I just pick it up from my hairdressers. But I'm not fussy. I pick up different ones all the time, actually. So it's not always one. But I'll find out what the box, what it's called. Right, salams, wa alaikum as-salam, shukran. Muhammad Orfan, ahlan wa sahlan. I remember that the other schools mentioned that we should not sit down and read the Quran translation because we may misinterpret. We should only refer to. I'm not sure what that means. You can read the Quran translation. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Let's see. Do you think people of Raison should work against the extreme Raison? Oh, like reason. Extreme Salafi creed because of damage in theology they make. Yeah, I think there needs to be, if you mean by work against, you mean like create some enlightenment about what's going on. Absolutely. Absolutely. If that's what you mean. I don't mean in any violent, fanatic way. But you know, I was thinking, what do you think about this? I was thinking, if we look throughout Islamic history, Muslims have ruled. Okay, Muslims have had control over things. Muslims have. But seldom will you find and normally I don't like to use this term, but if it conveys the meaning, Islamists, people who want to impose Islam, that are very kind of seen as the religious, the clergy, or things like this. Not even the clergy, because the clergy can be decent as well, but this kind of those who want to impose Islam on the world, they're here to spread the message of it. They've hardly ever ruled, ever. I mean, and there's wisdom behind that, because a lot of these people are just, unfortunately, you know, nutcases. So how do we get rid of anxiety? I'll come to that question, but the thing to understand is that, why is it, I'm serious, is it a coincidence that people who find God, there seems to be a correlation, yeah, that people who find God seem to have found hate, an obsession for world dominion, bigotry, that and an obsession with bloodshed. That these things, that people who seem to have found God, especially in the Muslim world, they seem to, you know, and I say found as in become like concerned and upset, like as in properly religious. There's a positive correlation between that and them having found these things. And in that case, they've found not God, but many gods. And the only thing they haven't found is God. Because this, if that's what religion is about, then it doesn't, Alina, I'm ill and in Amman. Okay, Shafakillah. Alina, you can, yeah, inshallah, send me a message and I'll look into that, inshallah. So, right now, do you understand what I'm saying here, people? That I just feel that, I don't know if you guys are aware, by the way, of there's a Libyan scholar by the name of Shaykh Nadir al Ulwani, who's been assassinated recently. As in just in these past few days, he was kidnapped by a right-wing Salafi group that are influenced by Rabi' al-Madkhali and Muhammad Raslan al-Misri. So these two top heads, I don't know if you've heard of these names, but Rabi' al-Madkhali is, I mean, God knows what he is, man. He's just somebody who's full of so much hate, subhanallah. But the thing is, anyway, he's a hardcore, you know, he's a super Salafi, you know, he's a uber super Salafi. And he's one, and this Muhammad Raslan is another one from Egypt, and they're like the two top heads of that right-wing fascist kind of Salafi movement that we've got right now. And that doesn't cover all Salafis, because many Salafis denounce, don't see themselves, I mean, they are on the right compared to many other people, but they're not as far as these guys. These guys don't consider most normal Salafis as normal Salafis, okay? So they consider most normal Salafis as deviants. These are the extreme de la extreme, okay? That's what they are. So this guy, apparently they gave the fatwa to assassinate Shaykh Nadir al Ulwani, who was a scholar of Quran, Hadith, and also mainly Hadithi works, but I believe he may have done some fiqh works as well. From what I've heard, he was a Maliki scholar from Libya. I heard that he was a loving, contributing kind of sheikh. He was kidnapped and then assassinated, I think within days. One of the guys, and these were religious, holy men that assassinated him, by the way. Big beards and everything. Not like, you know, proper on the Quran and Sunnah kind of thing, yeah. One of them shot him 30 times, I heard, to assassinate him. 30 times at close range. For God's sake. You know, I mean, where does all this hatred come from? Where does it come from? Seriously, whoa, you tell me, when people say, can the Muslim, can they be, is there salvation? I mean, you know, the Muslim world, imagine it being left to the likes of these to rule. Can you imagine that? I mean, for God, they would time travel back into, like, they would be thrown, we can't even, I don't know where, they'd be thrown into the European Dark Ages. Because we as Muslims didn't have a Dark Age. So, but such, it is so, there's an obsession for blood. Where has it come from? It is so removed from the character of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let me tell you something, people. Let me tell you something. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith, somebody asked him something, and he said to them that, look, I have hope for every Muslim, every believer, he said, that they will enter paradise. He said, I have strong hope, right, for everybody. He said, ma lam yamas daman. Just one thing. Let their hands be free from blood. Do not, so long as they have not touched blood. This is the most cheapest commodity to us as Muslims in the Muslim world today. No, zero value for human life. Zero value for blood. Spilt blood is, milk has bloody more value than blood. This is what we have kind of dropped to. Shocking, shocking, and it's done in the name of Allah and His Messenger. That is the most disturbing. I don't get it, you know, because it's not that these people are thick. They're not thick. They study, they memorize, I don't know. I honestly do not. They're just so like that, and they're full of so much hatred. But may Allah make things easy. May Allah make things easy for each and all. Hamza al-Jundi, Thor, ahlan wa sahlan. Amira Layla, shout out. Okay, shout out. It is Bilal Mustafa. Alright. Yusuf al-Khattab, wa alaykum as-salam. What do you think about Khalid bin Walid? Ya salam. Why would you ask me such a question, Muhammad Saif? I think Sayyidina Khalid bin Walid was Saifullah al-Maslul. He was a legend of Islam. And if you're going to, and do not make that parallel about bloodshed, he was not like that. Okay, he was a warrior who was part of the liberation with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wouldn't go out on bloodthirsty campaigns just to randomly go and kidnap people of religion and assassinate them and do nonsensical things like that. Yes, he partook in wars, but you know, he was a commander. So which, you know, commander of an army did not partake in wars? So that's a ridiculous kind of analogy. Rabi'a Keeble or Rabi'a Keeble, Furqan Tahir, they do not coat French fries with beef shortening. Family is very eccentric. Well, eccentricity is the way forward. Sabiel Khan, what's the ruling on drinking with... you goddamn. The ruling, Sabiel, is... yeah, I'm going to show it to you. Sabiel, this is going out to you. Can you read that? No, you can't. Even better. I said this earlier on. Can you read that? No. No, you can't. Right. Well, okay. It might have something to do with your brain capacity on understanding things, okay? But the ruling with drinking with the left hand is it's not haram. Relax, okay? And why I do it is because the devil told me to do it, okay? I hear the devil's voices. Oh, Mufti, do it. Mufti, drink with the left hand. No, drink. Okay. Good boy, good lad. Oh, well, sorry, that was just a conversation between me and Lucifer. Is the voice of reason a Maliki principle? It's not, although it's been championed by many Malikis. It's from Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. And, you know, it's part of this millah that we do things like that. Furqan, I've got no idea what your question is. If you ask your question, I'll try and answer it. First, C.A. Solomon, I have a question. What is your Spanish level? Currently just un poco, that's all, just a bit, right? But I'm learning, I'm trying, but I'm to be fair, I need to try harder. What about niqab? I listen to any. Okay, I believe is a practice that has developed over time, and it was safeguarding known within Islam. Rahizi, ahlan wa sahlan. Shibn Qaisar, Mahmoud, ahlan wa sahlan. Are the graves of the messengers of Allah real? Right, okay, as in the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his grave is real. I don't know about the other graves of the other prophets. I think they're speculative. I don't think they're 100% certain. No. So, right, kids taking part in the nativity play or Christmas concert at school, yay or nay? So, my understanding personally, I don't feel there's a problem with it. They can partake in it. It doesn't mean that you believe in something that you partake in. You know, if you understand something and you enact it. So I say, okay, we're going to enact a crime, and you enact a crime. Go, oh my God, you know, you enact something haram. Obviously, it's an enactment, but it's not haram anyway. But I mean, the point is, what they're going to try and say is, oh my God, how can you enact to be one of the kings or whatever it is? But in my understanding, you can. Which protein shake do I use? I use a few different protein shakes all the time. Currently on PhD. Right, so another question, Mufti Saab, looking into interest in student loans. What was the first question? Was it something to do with the French fries being coated in fat and stuff like this, or being used in the same oil? Was that the question? Because I'd like to tackle that question. Actually. So the thing is, look, in my understanding, people, it is permissible to eat fries from places like these, you know, KFC or McDonald's or whatever. Don't freak out. I'm only doing this because my Illuminati masters have told me to do this. See, I'm saying that because people are going to say that anyway. They're going to say, look, Mufti's supporting the Illuminati. So I might as well just beat them to it and say, I'm only doing this because my Illuminati masters have told me to do it. The thing is, look, people say that they use, sometimes there's crossover oil, or, you know, it's, I don't know if contaminated is the right word, but cross-contaminated oil. Firstly, I don't think they do, to start off with. Secondly, let's suppose that they may. Let's suppose. And there may be some grease that's boiled over, and this may have got cooked in that. Okay. I ask you people. Allah says in the Quran, وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ طَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. And it is halal for you to eat the food of those who have been given the book. Now, I'm not talking about, just pause there, I'm not talking about McDonald's being a Christians and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm asking is that if that be the case, let's say it was halal for us to eat the meat, to eat the food of the people of the book, then there was a great likelihood that there would be contamination in pots that they used with grease and oil from even things like pig. Because somebody could say, well, oh, okay, but their beef is halal, but their pig isn't halal. So in the past, when they were, let's say somebody at home, a Christian, eating pork, right? Whatever stew or something, they're chucking it in there and thinking, yeah, well, okay, let's wipe out the bowl. Let's make chicken. So here comes my Muslim neighbor. I'm going to give him chicken. So you're going to eat the chicken. Even the Prophet ﷺ ate from people of the book. Now, did he say, oh, people of the book, tell me, first of all, did you use cross-contaminated kind of bowls, or was there some grease left over, or was there... No, he didn't, because the deen does not ask you to become OCD. Okay, it does not ask you to become obsessive over these tiny little things. What it's asking you to do is not to eat haram, and you're not eating haram. That's the main thing. Now, to become obsessive, right, okay, why is it cool to make fun of women's appearance? I don't know. Is it because it's funny? Sarcasm. Hashtag sarcasm. All right, so the point is, do you understand where I'm coming from with this response? So I believe that we are not required, and in fact we shouldn't become obsessed and OCD with these kind of self-imposed details. So the thing is that, yes, we're not allowed to eat pork. Yes, we're not allowed to eat beef or whatever from them. But then to say, look, oh, well, maybe the container was like this, maybe it contains some of this, and maybe it did this, and maybe... Relax. That's my understanding. That's, you know, وَبِهَذَا أَدِينُ اللَّهِ. This is what I, you know, how I worship Allah in terms of food, and this is how I eat. People may have a problem with it. That's fine. That's the understanding. Is bovine-based gelatin halal? Watch my Shazad. Watch my YouTube clip on it. It's in a lot more detail. In essence, I say that it is permissible, although it may be better to avoid if you have an alternative. If you don't, then fine. Views on IS. Are you for real? Are you seriously asking me my views on what can say? Is that, what kind of a pathetic question is that? Why would you even ask that question? Right? Of course you know how I feel about nutcases like that. Zain, Imam Zain Abdu, ahlan wa sahlan, hayyak Allah, Shaykhana. Those who don't know, Imam Zain, amazing Imam from in Wales, doing a lot of incredible grassroots kind of work over there. So keep it up, Sheikh. How did you acquire the amount of knowledge you have, especially since you look so casually? You look so casual. Well, believe it or not, acquiring knowledge doesn't have to do anything to do with clothes you have on whilst acquiring it. Okay, don't worry about it, people. What you do, I'll tell you seriously, Felix, and this is going out to each and all. You just fall in love with the science. The rest will come to you. It's as simple as that. And the sciences of Islam are so amazing that a person can so easily be overwhelmingly in love with them. This is why I'm so shocked sometimes about how people end up. In fact, many do, but how they shouldn't end up. Any wazifa for skipping the queue on Black Friday? Use online sales, for God's sake. Is it permissible to use tissues to clean oneself after defecating? Yes, it is permissible. What are your opinions on Deobandis? Look, as I've said before, I don't hate... Look, we have teachers, friends, students from each and every group. Okay, I would not turn knowledge away, and neither away to, and neither from a Muslim or non-Muslim. Okay, we do not hate on groups. We do not have issues with groups. We have issues with the narrow minds that are found in all groups and all creeds. So it's the narrow minds that we have an issue with, not with groups. Okay, one ummah, one love. Remember, one love, people. One love. That's what it is. So, you know, quit the questions. We have to grow out of this mentality of, hey, what do you feel about the Deobandis? What do you feel about the Brailwis? This, yes, I do believe that this general mentality is an Indo-Pak mentality, and we need to leave that baggage alone. But we don't have issues with people because of a group. It's because of the narrow-mindedness that we have an issue with. Sheikh, what have your views on fellow Muslims treat each other badly in the workplace, e.g.? Look, nobody... That's just a... These are like human questions. They've really got nothing even to do with Islam. As a human being, you shouldn't be treating anybody badly. So, I hope that just answers that question. You know, the akhlaq are the most important. It's really the most important thing we can have. Good character. أحسن إلى الناس تستعبد قلوبهم فلطالما استعبد الإنسان إحسان. That be kind to people, you will captivate their hearts. That how, you know, it is a known fact that kindness holds the hearts captive. That's what the poem said anyway. But if someone passes out while standing Salah, do you have to redo the entire Salah? Yeah, but I mean, I think I'll be more worried about their own health. But once they do recover, yes. Is it permissible to use only tissues to clean oneself after death? It is permissible. Muhammad Mahmoud Muhiyeh, come on, man. I'm trying to have a drink here. What's wrong? I'm just having images here. Don't think about it. Think about it. No, think about it. Oh. Don't worry, I have a crazy imagination. So, which unfortunately doesn't allow me to get disturbed at things so easily. Opinions on Salat or Salam after Jum'ah, that goes back to the same discussion on good bid'ah versus the divisibility of bid'ah, whether bid'ah can be divided, and you can check my previous questions on that and also my YouTube clip on it. Lala Nasar, Assalamu alaikum, it's been such a while. Lala Nasar, I pray that your family are in good health. Shukran wa barakallahu feek. Haris Abdul Samad, ahlan wa sahlan. Is every school of theology influenced by Mu'tazila? Of course not, of course not. Mu'tazila are a group, a school of theology, just as other groups are schools of theology. They're not necessarily influenced. I mean, I suppose there may be some influence between certain schools, but they're definitely not all influenced by a particular school. That's definitely not the case. The concept of the Mu'tazila, and I'd just like to say the Mu'tazila, they translate as seclusionists, okay, or seclusionists, not as the rationalists. I find it unacceptable that we should refer to them as the rationalists. Right, because yes, they were big on reason. That's not why they became a sect. Okay, they became a sect because they had extreme beliefs. They believed that if a person committed a sin, he was not a Muslim. Okay, now that is a huge, major, extreme view. And they had like what are known as the Usul Khamsa, the 5 core beliefs. And if you held these 5 beliefs, you were part of the Mu'tazila. They were not. Yes, they did rely on reason, but that was not why they became a sect. So we need to stop referring to them as the rationalists. By doing so, we're trying to kind of knock down the rationale and people who are rational. So just as we don't refer to the Shia as, oh, this is the group, the lovers of the family of the Prophet. I mean, why don't we refer to the Shia as the group who love the family of the Prophet? Would you deny that they don't love the family of the Prophet? Of course they love the family of the Prophet. I mean, that's one of their core things. That's what their whole fuss is about, the family of the Prophet. Yet we don't refer to them as that, because we know by doing that, we're going to downplay something else. And so people don't do that. They just stick to what they disagreed on. Imama versus Khilafah. But the point is that with the Mu'tazila, people, instead of referring to what they actually believe today, when we translate these things, we say things like the rationalists. That's not what they were. I mean, they were rational, but that's not why they became a sect. Okay, so let's just put that into perspective. So yes, they may have been rational people, which many of them were, and many of them were also irrational at times as well. Okay, so we don't need to always think that they were kind of rational people. I mean, it was interesting. I was recently reading up a discussion on was the Prophet ﷺ an independent, isolated legislator? So Allah obviously legislates, but the Prophet ﷺ has authority to independently legislate. So whatever he says becomes fard. We're talking about from the Prophet himself. So Subki then discusses that the Prophet or any scholar within Islam, and he says that this is the majority view. And he actually attributes it to Imam Shafi'i and many of the Hanafiya, Jassas, and many of the Malikiya, and so on and so forth. And this is our understanding, and they use evidences. And it makes so much sense when you look at the evidence. This is so rational because the Prophet ﷺ is engaging with the people. He's there and there, doing things with them. So when an example I would often give is when the Prophet ﷺ was defining the Haram, saying that this is a sanctuary, you can't even uproot a plant, you can't even break a tree, cut a tree, you can't do anything, can't harm a creature. And when he mentions the plant, Abbas radiallahu anh says, Illa al-idkhar, except idkhar, we need idkhar. And the Prophet says, Illa idkhar. Okay, exception. Idkhar is exempt. There then. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that when he explaining the obligation, he asked him, every year, Prophet said, Lo qultu na'am la wajabat. If I was to say yes, it would become an obligation for you. But he says, I didn't. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying back to meaning he is an independent legislator. Why do I mention this? Look how reasonable that is. Yet the Mu'tazila deny this. They are categorically against this. So it's not always that they make sense. But yes, they heavily relied upon sense. But we need to stop giving them like all this credit by saying, oh, they were the rationalists. Now, if anybody else is being rational, we say, oh my God, you're being rational. You must be Mu'tazili because we call them the rational. That's like saying, oh